Welcome to Hardheaded Podcast. We're excited that you've joined us as we have a conversation. We found that a good conversation allows us to share what's on our mind, whether current events, what's grinding our gears, or our pet peeves.
It also allows us to share our top 3, a list of our favorite things on any given subject, most of which are highly opinionated. In closing, we share a good word. Solid friendships are encouraging. Even if we joke and give each other a hard time, our ultimate responsibility is to uplift each other.
Our goal is that you'll feel like you're part of the conversation, like you were in the studio with us, and that you feel encouraged after tuning in to our podcast. It's time to join the conversation.
Welcome back to another edition or another episode.
It's an addition.
It's an addition to our current catalog of podcasts.
Of the Hardheaded Podcast. Welcome. With me, as always, is Mr. Chet Sears and Mr. Matt Amos. I am Troy, 3-Shot Trussell. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't checked out our website, check it out, hardheadedpodcast.com.
And go from there, click on Apple, iTunes, listen on Apple. And then while you go there, leave us a review.
Yeah, reviews really help us. Rank us and get the word out to those old Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, algorithms out there that.
Yeah. The more reviews and the more comments there, ratings, the more apt we are to show up in other people's feeds that don't know about us.
That's right.
It's very helpful.
So we'd love some help there. Today, we have a fantastic show for you. We have top 3 foreign dishes. Interesting to hear everybody's take on that.
I only know of one.
Well, you got to come up with 3.
No, like China. That's the only foreign dish I know.
That's a lame dad joke.
They made cabinets to hold them.
Yeah,
Your China dishes.
Yeah, they did.
He's been working on that one for
That just came to me.
I doubt it.
It did.
Yep. All right, and Chet's got a good word, but we're going to start off with what is on.
But before we do that,
Matt Amos's mind.
The first thing that's on my mind is I had a harvest in the garden.
Look,
Yeah.
all right, let me just tell you right now. You can't call this a harvest. This is the smallest.
This is a small Thai pepper.
Yours is look at this. Mine is half the size of yours.
I'm going to take a picture here. Let me see.
That's what she said.
We'll put it up on the Facebooks. All right.
Oh, you ought to reel us eating these. So Matt only. How many did you bring, Matt? How many of us are there in the room right now?
There are 3 of us.
How many peppers did you bring, Matt?
2. I ate mine at work today.
Why did you eat yours today, and why aren't you partaking in this?
Well, I
did somebody watch you eat it? Because I'm not sure I trust that he ate.
I don't believe it.
So I ate one.
Well,
I did eat one today.
You've eaten one of these before, and you said it's not that bad.
So before
you can't even see it.
I harvested, because these are this morning's harvest. I picked these this morning.
Fresh off the.
And what are they, Matt?
They are a Thai pepper with the Scoville somewhere between 50,000 and 100,000. And every pepper that I've tried so far, I'm telling you, I'm cheating towards the higher end of those scales.
I'll just tell you right now, Scoville scale sucks.
It does.
It's not real.
It's so what's the word?
Made up.
Well, what individual?
Yeah. Well, not only that, like it's how many squirts of water on your tongue does it take for the heat to go away? Isn't that what it is?
I don't think so.
It's
the amount of capsaicin.
No, you're gonna have to fact check that.
I'll fact check
I disagree.
What does capsaicin even mean? Is that a word? Did you just make that up, Matt?
That's an oil. That's the oil.
Well, you are the beard oil, man.
Earl. Ooh.
Oil.
Ooh.
Make some Thai beard oil.
Yes, you ought to be putting hot chili peppers in your beard oil.
Absolutely not, because I had one that was a lot more mild than this, and I made the rookie mistake of eating one and then going to the bathroom, not washing my hands in between.
Rookie! You only do that once.
Hopefully, because that pepper was hot. But I did try one of these when I was in the garden, and it's a good heat, but it doesn't stick with you.
I'm getting nervous, so I'm gonna have to eat this thing.
All right.
I have to record it?
Yeah, film yourself eating it. All right, here we go.
Hold on. I'm not a good recorder.
So I'm used to...
Now, I will say that I did have these in my pocket next to my supplements.
And by supplements, you mean your private parts? I mean,
No, not my supplements.
Oh, my God. So here's the
supplement.
The Thai chili pepper going down the hatch.
all right, here we go.
But while I was...
I got the whole thing there.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't get the whole
You
thing?
didn't even get the hot part.
I went back for seconds.
Well, yeah, it's got some heat.
So...
I'm fine, man. I don't know what you're talking about.
Whoa, it's got some heat.
But it doesn't last very long.
I feel it where I chewed it, and on the left side of my tongue, on the left side of my mouth. It's going down the back of my throat right now, and my tongue.
You're talking everybody through it. I'm just over here. I'm fine, man. There ain't nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong.
Heat all in my tongue and the side of my mouth where I chewed it. Nowhere else though. A little bit down the throat. Chet's eyes are watering. Chet is drinking his diet cola or whatever he's drinking over there. We call them Cokes in the South. Yeah, totally bearable. My saliva is getting a little sticky. Not too bad. But it's probably because I'm talking a lot. Normally, when you eat this stuff, it's better not to talk. But since this is a podcast, I figured it'd be good to talk. Now,
I'm not dead. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
It has a lot of flavor.
It does have a lot of flavor.
But it is very specific in the heat. And it's a quick heat and it's a long heat. It's not over yet.
No?
No, it's,
No.
Oh, yeah, it's still there. It's still, now I feel
It's mellowed.
You feel the heat at first, but now I feel the burn. You get what I'm saying?
No.
Yes.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
No.
Because when I tried this in the garden, I was like,
I'm going to take some water
I
now.
mistook it. I didn't
My nose is running.
I didn't think it was going to be as hot
Oh, yeah.
as it was. So
You want a powdered donut, Chet?
I'm good, man.
so when I went to eat it, it was pretty hot. But you get that little sweetness at the beginning before it.
It kind of hits right away.
You didn't get the sweet before it hit you?
It kind of hit me right
Did
away.
you get the sweetness before it hit you?
I didn't get much sweet because I bit the whole thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
And all I got was peppers.
So
I mean,
it almost...
not peppers, but seeds.
I would cook with that.
It's super good to cook with.
Yeah.
It's really
Oh,
good
yeah.
in eggs. Yeah, because it takes a little bit of the heat out. But
Thumbs up here. Don't forget to live local. Eat your local peppers from Amos Farms.
that's where we're going. That's where we're going.
All right.
I should have brought some Fresnos in for you because those things are only supposed to go up to like 25,000 maybe or 50,000 is their top. But I ate that stupid thing, and that's a burn that sticks with you.
This is still with you.
This one does not.
This is with you.
It's still with me.
It's still with you.
But it's not that intense. It's hot, but it's not intense right now.
It's pretty intense.
It's
Is
still
it?
there.
I mean, it's intense in one area, right? So it's
Yeah.
not really messing with my eyes
you
and my head.
you know where that pepper touched you. Like it's not like enveloping
that's-
your whole mouth.
But that's what I was saying. I had those
Right.
I had those supplements in my pocket, and I had those peppers next to them. And so when I took them out to take them this afternoon, I downed those, and like my throat was burning for about 5 minutes because the pepper had rubbed on the pills.
I will take one of those.
Powdered donuts.
Does it fix it?
It helps.
Because I would say with that coating that it might.
Sugar should take heat away, right?
Well, kind of dumbs it down a little bit.
Dull.
Dumbs it
Sugar's
down.
not dumb.
Dumbs it down.
Sugar's very smart. It's killing us all.
But that may be a new technique because I don't think I've ever seen anybody, because how the powdered donut coats your mouth. If that actually will work for like really hot foods, if you just carry some powdered donuts with you. Did we just come up with a new technique for overcoming heat?
No, because this is no. It doesn't. It's still there.
Yeah, the heat's still there. It's not.
I think
it's
it's just a
breaking
factor
through
of
that.
time. Donuts aren't the thing.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Well, anyway, so that's what I've been doing lately is the peppers are starting to come in. They're starting to grow like crazy. I've got so many cayennes and ring of fires and all that kind of stuff. For whatever reason, I can't get my bigger tomato plants. I can't get those to grow for the life of me. But I can get I've got some super sweet cherry tomatoes, and I've got some cherry tomatoes that are just going gangbusters.
Do you put any like fertilized water on any of your plants or anything?
Yeah, so I have it's kind of like a fish emulsion.
Yeah, I've heard of that.
So all natural, organic. You mix that with the water, and then you use it as a follicular spray.
Well, I had this guy was doing some construction on our house one time, and he saw our garden out back, and he was like, "Hey, you need to try some of my poo-poo water." I was like, "Well, okay, what's that?"
Your first response to that was okay.
Well,
you didn't say, "Hey, what is it?"
I said, "All right, what is it?" I mean, he'd been working in our house for months. Like, I trust the guy. We always told hunting and fishing stories and stuff, and he has a garden, and I trust the guy, right? Well, he brought over a 2-gallon milk jug with a little hand-drawn label on it, like he sells this stuff, called poo-poo water, and it was I can't remember what kind of manure mixed in water, and like they just mix it up and you pour it you pour it in the soil of your garden, and it just had
everything grew
abundance of tomatoes and everything that year.
So the stuff that I use smells like you ever seen BJ's catfish bait?
Yeah.
Or the jars of catfish bait?
Yeah.
You smell that?
Oh yeah, it's nasty.
That's exactly what this fertilizer smells like. Like I open it up and it says that it has an odor to it, but it will dissipate over, a few hours. And of course, what am I going to do? Open it up and I smell the bottle and I was like, oh yeah, that's catfish bait. That's 100% what that is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That's catfish bait. And I probably should have washed those before I gave them to you. Just kidding.
I'm telling you, it's got enough heat to kill anything.
That's what the burn was.
Here, what we're both right on Scoville, by the way.
Okay.
The origin of the scale, which this is why it doesn't make sense to say it's 1,000,000 Scoville. Scoville. There's an E on the end.
Scoville.
If it was O, there wouldn't be an E.
Scoville.
So he created a way to measure the pungency of a hot pepper. The Scoville organoleptic test is based on a dilution of ground up hot chili peppers. In numerical form, it answers the question, how many equal parts of sugar water do I need to add to a same size part of ground chili pepper until I taste no discernible heat? So it's basically, he had a panel of testers who took the test. They sipped these concoctions of chili pepper and sugar water in multiple day trials until no heat was noticed per pepper type. So so you'd grind up a chili pepper like that, and then you dilute it in sugar water until you could drink it and say, I don't taste anything but sugar water.
So how much sugar water are they putting in the cup every day?
However many it takes to where you don't taste the pepper.
Oh, so I mean, it could be
a gallon of sugar water. Like 100. What's 1,000,000? What's the hottest pepper out there? Like 7,000,000 Scoville?
I don't know.
The hottest one on record is the Carolina Reaper. And
that's old news.
No, but that's the only one that they've tested. All the other ones are still under the
TBD.
Yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. I'm not kidding. I looked this up not too long ago.
It's in the millions. So
yeah, I think a Reaper
to be in the millions of Scoville.
Reaper's like 2 million, I think.
But to be in the millions of Scoville, that means there would have to be that quantity of sugar water. So what's the lightest weight you can get of pepper. That times 2 million is what you would actually have to do to rate Carolina Reaper accurately, according to it's astronomical. We're at levels where you got to come up with a different method, and I think they have, but I think they still call it the Scoville.
Huh?
High performance liquid chromatography, I think, is what they use now.
Is that the measurement of the capsaicin?
The chemical capsaicin.
Yeah.
But the original Scoville was diluted sugar water, in which I could see if it's going to be like 500, sugar water ounces, 500 ounces versus 1 ounce of pepper. And I put the jalapeno in there and I couldn't taste the jalapeno. But 2 million, that just doesn't make sense.
Yep.
What about Scotch Bonnet? Where's that? The Under Carolina Reaper?
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolina's still the hottest in the world as of 2022, January 3rd.
I used to put, I grew Scotch bonnets probably 7 years ago and used to put those on my eggs, and that will fire you up. That will fire you up.
Yes.
But I've got some coming this year that are going to be a little bit hotter, so we'll bring those out when they.
How do you even judge it at that high? This says the ghost pepper's hotter
than the Scotch bonnet.
Than the Carolina Reaper.
No, it's not.
Pepperscale.com says that there was a deal on May 22nd, 2022.
It may be another strain of a ghost pepper.
I don't know. I've had Ghost and I've had
Oh, hold on.
Carolina Reaper.
I'm wrong.
Reaper's always hotter.
It is the 5 most popular hottest peppers. So, AKA the dumbest list ever created for an article. You either have the 5 most popular peppers or you have the 5 most hot peppers. You don't have the 5 hottest popular peppers. Because at number 2, Carolina Reaper, comment, it's currently the hottest pepper in the world, but it's number 2 on your list. Idiots.
Who makes these lists? It's like the movie list we had a few months ago. Like, get your stuff together, dude.
Who makes these lists? People that have podcasts that just come up with the top 3 things that they want to.
So you'll be seeing our hot pepper list come out soon.
The one that I do want you guys to try.
Famous Amos, and I'm not talking about the cookie. I'm talking about that hot pepper.
I'll tell you what. I'll eat something hotter than that because it's nothing now. I could barely feel where it was.
Yeah, me too.
Like I said, it's not that long.
It's been like 10 minutes.
Yeah. I'll eat something hotter than that.
I got something for you.
Bring it. But you got to eat it too. You bring 3.
Oh, I'm not eating this one. So the mystery pepper that I told you.
You do it for our listeners.
No, I will not. So I told you.
If we get 10 new reviews.
Oh, I like it. 10 new reviews.
Troy and I will hold Matt down and force feed him this pepper.
50. I'll do it for 50.
50 reviews. You heard it here, folks.
We'll be making some anonymous accounts.
Yeah. But the one that I'm interested for you guys to try is the one that Chet gave me so much grief about, and it's called Cajun Craze, and it's a 7-pot variety, which is kind of in the same family of Scotch Bonnet, but it's at 1.5 million on the Scoville rating.
I'm not trying that.
It's one of those evil.
They need to just call them gigawatts.
Gigawatts.
1.5 gigawatts.
It's gonna be hot.
Or was it gigawatts or gigawatts?
Gigawatts.
That's what it was. Yep. Nice. Well, I'm ready to try it. Whatever you got.
I'm glad you're.
I'd try a Reaper if you had it. I wouldn't eat the whole thing like I just ate that, but
yeah,
I would try a Reaper.
But the one thing that I was going to is that mystery pepper that I had in the garden that I said could be a jalapeno, could be 2 million Scoville.
Yeah.
There's no telling. I got a little ahead of myself, and there was one that ripened up earlier this week, and I picked it off and I looked at it and I was like, I'm gonna do it, and I ate it and I waited for that burn to come.
Never did.
It was basically the heat of a jalapeno.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, well, that one ain't going to work for him. So I won't bring these because I know that we'll just graduate in spiciness.
Well, one time I took Maggie to the farmer's market. This was, I think, last spring or probably before COVID. Yeah. Anyway, I got some peppers.
Did you video this?
I think I did.
Yeah, because she like dominated some peppers.
Well, we got some sweet peppers.
Oh, okay.
And then I got a few hot ones. And I was just reaching in the bag. You know, we were driving down the road, reaching in the bag, grabbed a yellow one and popped it in. And it was not out of the sweet bag.
Yeah.
I literally had to pull over. And she's like dying laughing at me. And
dry heave.
And I'm like worse than that pepper. Like I had nothing to drink. I was in the car.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was bad. It's pretty funny though.
A little dry heaving.
A little bit. What kind of pepper though? I'm trying to think.
Like a yellow.
Was it a Apollo pepper?
Like ahi?
The dragon's breath pepper?
No, I grew some 2 years ago. I can't remember what they're called though. It'll come to me.
Infinity pepper?
No, it's
7-pot brain strain.
That's a new one. That's
the Naga Viper.
No, you're not going to find it on that list. I'm sure.
The death spiral.
It's a pretty known pepper. It's just not coming to me. But all right.
Anyway, that's
It
really
was the Trinidad scorpion. That's what it was.
no.
No, it wasn't.
It was the
All right.
If I had to say it,
Komodo
would be
dragon.
yellow ahi, but
tuna.
no, just yellow ahi.
All right. Well, I'll figure it out on the break. Let's take a break and head to our top 3.
1783, the first victory. Victorious in war, this year sees America earn her independence. At Admiral's Pennant, we celebrate victories at the end of war. 1783 is the first of many such celebrations in our nation's history. This is an elegantly refined blend of sandalwood, cedar, and tea tree. The subtle, lingering, woody scent of the sandalwood, light cedar, and the top notes of tea tree is the essence of masculinity, honoring the men who fought and continue to fight to provide us our independence.
Check it out at admiralspennant.com. Without it, you might as well shave.
Habanero.
And we're back.
That was it. Yeah, I don't know why I couldn't think of that, but
That one's
was
popular.
the
You can
pepper.
buy that at Walmart's.
Yeah, that bad boy from the farmer's market was hot though.
Some of those habaneros can get pretty spicy.
Must have grown right next to that Reaper.
And did you know that if you go to Abuelo's, that you can ask for the hot sauce?
Yes, and I got one better for you. Go to Goya's, the local
Dude,
Mexican
have you been to
restaurant.
Goyo's?
Go to Goya's in Park City and ask for the double secret probation hot sauce, coined by me, Live Local, and they will bring it to you, to your table, and it's orange habaneros.
53rd and Broadway.
So good.
It's a great place.
And while you're there, get the Vampiro,
Oh, wait. Is that the place that we ate?
because they make a dang good
No,
Vampiro.
We ate with Sean that one day?
no, that was El Rancho
El Rancho.
with the barbacoa.
Yep. Barbecue.
Also good, but not the same. Like a different food.
And don't ask for chips there, please. You can ask for chips at Goya's, but not El Rancho's. Don't ask for chips there.
Were you there for that?
No, you told me about it.
Oh,
Sorry,
Greg?
Tim. Or was it Greg? Oh,
Yeah,
it was Greg.
it's Greg, one of our listeners. He asked for chips. And number one, nobody in there speaks English. Like even the clientele for the most part. And we went there. It's our first time there. And he's like, hey, can I have some chips? And she's like, no. And he's like, but I'll pay for them. Like, it's okay. I'm not acting like this is something that you should give me for free. And she's like, we're authentic Mexican. If you want chip, and then she said it in her heavily accented voice, which I don't try to portray. But if we're authentic Mexican. If you want chips, you can go to like Connie's or something like that, one of those Tex-Mex places.
Yeah.
Like, you're not getting it here.
Hey, Connie's is one of the oldest restaurants in Wichita.
Never been there.
Yeah. We're doing a series coming up on the oldest restaurants in Wichita.
Oh, okay.
Connie's is one of them.
New Way.
A lot of people.
We're not doing New Way right now.
It's one of the oldest.
We're not doing franchises right now.
You ought to be able to do a franchise if it started in Wichita. If
We
you can
will.
go to the original location.
We will, but not right now.
Like Freddy's.
That's a different series altogether.
All right.
Pizza Hut, Freddy's.
No, the original
White
Pizza Hut
Castle.
doesn't exist anymore.
Well, you can go to the museum.
But they don't serve pizza there.
Bring one. Eat it there.
It's not the same.
Just stay tuned. Live local. We got some ideas.
Anyway, Goyo's is good. I've never been to Connie's. I only see white people walking in there.
Well, it's like that place I went to the other day. Asian food. Bunch of white dudes in the back like us cooking it. It was pretty good, though.
Yeah.
Wasn't authentic, though.
Reminds me of a episode of The League.
We probably shouldn't talk about that. Top 3.
Probably not.
What are we on? Top 3?
Top 3 foreign dishes. Chet, go.
That's where the Sushis Loose came from.
The League?
and he thought it was from
sushi.
The sushi, but there was an Asian guy that was serving, but there was a white guy right next to him, and he was speaking Chinese or whatever, Japanese whatever they were doing, and he's like, "Hey, can I get the Japanese chef?" "Oh no, and so then he blamed the white sushi set chef for the Sushi's Loose.
All right, number 3. And I'm going from foreign dishes that I've eaten when I was.
So what is our top 3 again?
Foreign dishes.
I just wanted to clarify because I don't think we did. So
yeah, top 3 foreign dishes. A French croissant, not anything you've eaten here, but the buttery, flaky, somewhat crispy outside with the gooey almost, but not dry inside. Like you can barely pull it apart because it's a little crispy on the outside, but when you do, all that bread is still kind of wanting to hang together on the inside.
It's good stuff.
I get that from Pillsbury.
No, you don't. No, you don't. The layers. That's good.
So where's that from?
What
France.
Country with that? There you go.
And
AKA French croissant.
Okay.
France.
I didn't know.
Did you say French croissant or did you say croissant?
I said the French croissant.
He did say French croissant.
You need to say croissant.
Croissant.
There you go.
En français, croissant.
I just didn't know if that was a jab, at your wife and naming one from Paris, being as in that where. Oh no, you're going to Rome. Never mind.
Yeah.
Do you have any Rome foods on there that you're going to jab her with that she's not going with you?
I haven't had food in Italy yet.
Oh, okay, but you're getting ready to.
I'm about to. All right.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
I want the carbonara.
That's a spicy meatball.
I want the
gotta
spaghetti
do the
carbonara.
Hold your hand out. Yeah.
Number 2, this is from China. They're deep fried, sweet and sour whole fish. Originated in the Jiangsu province around the 18th century.
Okay.
I spent a couple weeks there, and whenever
in the 18th century.
Yeah. In the so every night was something. Like we had this big event, people taking us out, different people, because we were going to different places every night. And they'd order everything just to, hey, you got foreign people here, we're going to order all the whatever dishes. And you had the big turntable in the middle, so everybody just family style. But man, I got excited every time we went to a place where they threw that fish out there. And it's like the whole fish, the head and all, eyes and everything else. And they'd slice it down the middle, like from back to belly. And then they'd go down this way. So you basically had these square cubes of meat that were still attached to the fish. Then they batter that thing and fry it. And then you had this sweet and sour sauce that come with it. So you'd reach up there with your chopsticks and you grab a hold of a piece of that square cube of meat and pull it off the fish.
Nice.
And
what kind of fish?
Sea bass mostly, but I mean any fish.
Sea bass.
I don't know that one.
Dumb and Dumber.
Oh. So anyway, I love that. It's good. If I go back, I'm going to make sure I get it. And then they were all funny because everywhere I went, they were trying to like stump the American. And somebody from my company had been there a couple weeks before me, and they were offended because it was like they only wanted to eat beef. Like that's all that this one person would eat because they're picky. And culturally, that's offensive to just about anywhere you go if they're like, I'm not going to eat your food.
Right.
But,
yeah.
So I was just like, they were like, is it okay if we order what we want to order, or are you specific like the snotty person that was here before you? I'm like, no, you knock me out, man. Go for it. So they would always put that, to try to stump me with whatever. And they thought they had me on frog, because I wanted to know what I was going to eat. And they typically were, we'll tell you afterwards. Like, we're not going to tell you. And I'm like, that's fine as long as I know. So then I got to where I was picking it out and telling them what it was, just by eating it. And they thought they had me on this, they had some frog. And so I took a bite, and it was not recognizable, but took a bite, and I was like, oh, this is frog. And they were like, what? How do you know about frog? I'm like, yeah, I'm from Louisiana.
Frog legs.
I eat frog a lot. Like, this is good. And I was like, have you ever eaten crocodile? And they were like, no. And I'm like, you got to try it because it's really good. And they were thinking I was weird because of the food I was eating as opposed to. Number 1, ceviche. I had this in Costa Rica, and it was with sea bass, red onion, red bell pepper, ginger, cilantro, lime juice, and salt. Raw fish, and they cooked it with the lime juice, the citrus. Fantastic. And it was hot. We were down there, Costa Rica's near the equator, and most of the places we weren't air conditioned, but we could sit down after working all day and sweating like crazy, and you get some of this ceviche right there, and it just refreshed you. Like, it was, dude, it's awesome. And here, they don't do it that way in Wichita, and I'm 100% okay with that. But I mean, the fresh fish from Costa Rica, that stuff was fantastic. Yep. Fantastic.
See, and I don't mind ceviche as much.
It's cooked.
I can eat that.
It's not raw.
It's cooked with lime juice.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
And it's not like that tuna that we had in that sushi a week ago was, you could tell that's just raw meat, but like the fish in ceviche is white,
flaky,
a little bit more firm. That's my top 3. I got a couple. I've got one honorable mention, and I'll wait.
Okay. You want me to go? All right. Number 3 is the kabob.
The shish kebab?
Not the shish kebab. Just kebab.
Just kebab.
And no, Chet, it's not the one from North Rock Road.
There's a restaurant named Kebab.
Yeah. I'm
it was on the lunch rotation, and for some reason we only went there on days that it was Matt's turn to buy.
Yeah, because it was like our most expensive lunch. And,
yes, it was.
So, but anyway, when I was in Iraq, you could get from the street vendors, you could get kebab, or you could send, one of the Iraqi army guys to go hook you up with some kebab. And the way that they cook it there is they take a stick, and they wrap the meat around the stick. They cook it on the stick, so when you get the meat, it comes out like a tube, and it just basically looks like intestine that you're eating, and it's not.
Like a cheeseburger log from the Circle K.
Sure, I've never had that.
Sure,
but then they've got these pickled like tomatoes and
pig's feet
and vegetables that
I like pig's feet.
You could put on the naan or the pita, whatever, the flatbread that they had.
Yeah.
And you roll it up and eat it that way. And it was super good. So that's my number 3. Number 2 is I don't even know what it's called. And I told the guy that,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was with, but it's a mixture of potatoes, and rice, and you served in a big platter, and you just take your flatbread and you scoop it out of the middle and eat it, and whatever oil and seasoning that they put on it, because this was in Afghanistan.
So I have bread, oil, and seasoning.
Pretty much with potatoes and rice.
Stewed potatoes, mashed potatoes.
No, like just cut up and fried in the
fried potatoes.
Yeah, in this oil.
Okay.
Which is what they did with the rice. And then basically scoop that up with some pita and eat it. And it could have been because I hadn't had any like real food except for MREs for months on end. But that was like
that's real. I mean, I'm with you on that. It could be not good if you ate it at your dinner table at your house, but at that experience, that was like one of the best things you'd eaten.
Right. Yeah. And then we'd sit around, we'd have, they'd have their hot tea. And yeah, it was super good. So that's 2 of my 3 are from the Middle East. And I just love Middle Eastern food anyway. Number one is Lomo Saltado, and this is from Peru. And so when I was traveling down in Peru, one of their kind of their flagship dish is Lomo Saltado, and it's strips of beef stir fried with red and green pepper, and then they've got some chilies in there to spice it up. They serve that, and there's got some kind of sauce basically that they've mixed, and then they put that over a bed of French fries, and then they've got a little cup of rice on the side. That is my all-time
French fries and rice, 2 starches.
Yep, and it is phenomenal. It's my favorite dish. If I could find that, there's only one place I know of in Wichita, and they actually only cater.
Why don't you learn how to make it yourself?
I have, but it's not something that you just like. It's still not as good as what they've prepared down there.
What Troy and I have done with our cultural foods,
make it ourselves
that we can't order, we make it ourselves.
Yeah. My wife's made it for me.
Well, we build a bridge and get over it.
Do you?
Yeah.
But we were up in Kansas City at Claire's soccer tournament, or no, Lily's ice skating deal, and I found a Peruvian restaurant that had it.
Yeah.
And it was, nobody spoke English at all, and so you're trying to order.
Just think about that. Food as a language. Like, you couldn't verbally communicate with them, but they could communicate love and excellence through the food that they cook.
And it was really good.
It's hospitality.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It was good. The server would not speak a lick of English, and then when I went to pay, of course, all of a sudden now they speak English.
Yeah. Your card was declined, sir.
I haven't heard that very often.
Oh, that's good.
That's my top 3.
All right. Number 3, beignets.
You're stretching.
Well, I don't travel much, Chet. This was a really hard top 3 for me.
Okay.
So,
We'll give it to you.
Beignets. The French kind.
From the French Quarter.
That's right.
Bourbon Street.
Number 2.
But in reality, New Orleans, you're going, well, anywhere in South Louisiana, you're going to a foreign country. You don't get that food everywhere.
That's for dang sure.
Yeah.
And I've tried my hardest to make beignets at home, even with Cafe Du Monde batter and everything.
That's the oil, man.
Dude, I just can't do it.
You got to have that peanut oil.
Can't. I bought peanut oil to do it in.
And you got to have like a 200-year-old cast iron kettle that you're
can't get it like they do it.
I try not to cook that kind of stuff in my house because it's bad. You don't want to be like, oh, I can fry up this dough in my house anytime I want. It's the best thing I've ever eaten. Like, that's just not good. Like making donuts. If you can make your own donuts, which you probably could, it's not a good thing to do.
Well, I mean, that's basically what a beignet is when you get down to it. You're frying.
Yeah, but you can't mislead people. It's not nearly the same. It's not like going to Lamar's.
Well, true. Yeah.
That one time we had some kind of fish fry or something over at our house, and if I'm doing a big one, I do 2 pots. I'll do potatoes in one pot of oil and another one with fish in the other.
And you do onion rings sometimes.
Well, yeah, potato onion ring. Well, I was just like, hey, I'm about to get all this grease fired up. What else do we want to fry? So Ashley was like, everything. So,
yes.
That turned out to be, it started with, we'll do onion rings. And then it was like, oh, let's do pickles. We love the fried pickles. And then
fried green beans.
It's turned into Snickers. And then
Twinkies?
We fried Twinkies. And I can tell you right now, I felt like I was breaking the law when I dropped a battered frozen Twinkie into some hot grease.
So do you have to freeze them first?
Yeah, the whole key to the desserts that you freeze or that you fry is that they're frozen.
Frozen first,
yeah,
okay.
Like chocolate and all that kind of stuff. You got to plan ahead. It's got to be like overnight type stuff.
Yeah.
Especially for the candy bars. And then you put them in your wet batter and then drop those in the grease. And I was like, this is bad. Like, nobody should eat a deep fried Twinkie. And here I am cooking them. Like, this should be illegal. But anyway.
Oh, man.
I'm with you. You're not going to be able to replicate that. And it's okay. It's good.
Yeah. It's a nice treat when I make it down there. Number 2, Mexican street tacos. Now, I have had authentic street tacos in Mexico, and they're delicious.
That's just a little cabbage and some meat. What's on your?
Yeah, a little cabbage, cilantro,
Maybe a little bit of lime.
lime juice. You know, there's a ton of places here in Wichita that serve them. But yeah, and a lot of places here in Wichita are pretty good, authentic, from what I had in downtown Mexico. So,
The El Pollo Dorado.
yeah, they're good.
Yeah,
Yeah, those are
are good.
authentic.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a food truck that's not going anywhere on 29th.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
As the tires do not have rubber on them.
Well, he owns that building too.
Oh, does he?
Yeah, yeah. All right, then number 1. I do not know how to pronounce any of this. It's spelled B-U-N, with the U has a little thing over it. It's Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Buen. I don't know how you say that.
You're not going to get any feedback from me on you just say it, man. And
Vermicelli noodles.
oh yeah.
Served with lettuce, bean sprouts, cilantro, topped with peanuts. I get mine with grilled shrimp and an egg roll.
Oh yes, little Sai. He's talking little
The
Saigon.
Bon
right now.
Nam Nuang Chang Yo.
Yes.
That's what it has on their menu.
I just wrote that down.
It's $10.95 at Little Saigon right here in Little Wichita.
That's good stuff.
The owners are Vietnamese, and it's delicious. And I just imagine being in Vietnam when I'm eating it.
It's kind of how I feel when I go to Thai Traditions and get the shrooms. That's good.
The triple shroom.
You get that when you're watching NASCAR on Sundays.
No.
Shroom.
Vroom, vroom, vroom.
No, but I did leave. With hot peppers, I used to get the Thai hot when I'd eat there.
Oh,
And John and I went and we got Thai hot for lunch. And we swore when we got back that they had laced it with something, because we both felt like we were just high. Like everything was funny, but it was just the endorphin release from
the Thai peppers.
just how hot it was. Yeah.
I did Thai hot for a Live Local video at Thai Traditions. And I went with another guy. He's another foodie here. His name's Lynn. His foodie channel, or he just blogs, but it's significantly spicy. That dude mowed down that Thai hot like it was nothing.
Oh yeah.
Didn't even break a sweat. I took maybe 6 or 7 bites of mine. Couldn't finish it. Just sweating, dying. Like 100 times what we ate earlier. Like, yeah. I don't know.
Because what we just ate earlier, they've got in the little carousel that they bring out with all the different peppers.
The oil, chili oil.
The chili oil, the peppers, because they've actually just got those pickled that you can just put on your food.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a fan of that.
I used to be. I could down that. Sounds like I was kind of like him. Like I could plow through that and be completely fine. But
Yeah.
not anymore,
Yeah.
sadly.
All right. Good top 3. Chet, you got a good word for us today?
I do. The word is expectations. We're coming to you from Matthew chapter 11. And it's kind of interesting. What is you remember the disciple Thomas? What's his nickname?
Doubting Thomas.
Yeah, why?
Because he didn't believe.
Until he saw.
He didn't really believe Jesus. He kind of doubted Jesus saying who he was.
So this doesn't have anything to do with doubting Thomas.
Okay.
Or Thomas, for that matter. It's about John the Baptist.
Johnny.
So in chapter 11, verse 2, it says, when John was while imprisoned, heard the works of Christ, he sent word by his disciples and said to him, so he asked his disciples to go to Jesus and ask him this, are you the expected one, or shall we look for someone else? Jesus, so basically, are you the Messiah? is what he's asking. Now, what do we know about John the Baptist?
They're cousins.
And John and Jesus met. When did they meet?
Probably when they were kids, but
The
only record account in biblical was when
John
baptized
Jesus, and what happened? The heavens opened up.
God said from the heavens, "This is my son."
Yeah.
whom I'm well pleased.
Yeah.
Yes. So I would say that John had some evidence of Jesus being the Messiah, and yet this is years later. John's been in prison for what the scholars think about a year. So he's been locked up. Actually dies right after this, is martyred very soon after this incident. He sent his disciples to Jesus to ask him point blank, "Are you that guy? Or should we be looking for somebody else?" So why isn't John the Baptist called Doubting John? I don't know. I thought that's funny. Jesus answered and said to them, "Go and report to John what you hear and see. The blind receive sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleaned, and the deaf hear. The dead are raised up, the poor have the gospel preached to them, and blessed is he who does not take offense at me." So basically, Jesus says, haven't I fulfilled Scripture? He's actually referencing some things that are prophesied about that John would have known that the Messiah would come and do. We kind of get this a lot that happens in this time. You got to kind of put yourself in their shoes. All of the teachings, almost all the teachings up to this point, if you're looking at the nation of Israel, was that the Messiah is going to come and deliver them, and their context was deliver them from the oppression that they're under. Right now it's the Romans. That's, who John was also imprisoned by. So we're going to be delivered. Well, the delivery they're thinking of is that the Messiah is going to come and Israel is going to move back into a nation of power, a global dominating nation that will have other people under it. So I think John was still thinking that even though the Messiah is going to do all these miracles, we know he's the Messiah because we're going to get, Israel's going to take Rome over. And I imagine if you've been in prison for a year, you're going to get to the point where you're thinking like, "Oh, come on. If you're going to do something, do it now."
Right.
And of course we all know, that's not Jesus' intent, was not to provide deliverance from a political oppressor, but actually, deliverance from sin and deliverance from the grave. And then what Jesus does after this, and I think this is just so awesome. This is a perfect example of who God is, who Jesus is. So as the men were going away, and Jesus is in front of a crowd here, and so they know that John's asking, "Is this, are you really the Messiah?" And so Jesus starts to talk to the people there, and he said, "What did you go out to the wilderness to see? A reed shaken by the wind? Or what did you go out to see? A man dressed in soft clothing? Or, those who wear soft clothing are in kings' palaces. But what did you go out to see? A prophet. Yes, I tell you, and one who is more than a prophet. This is the one about whom it is written, 'Behold, I send my messenger ahead of you, who will prepare your way before you.' Truly I say to you, among these born of a woman, there has not arisen anyone greater than John the Baptist. Yet the one who is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. From the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffers violence, and violent men take it by force. For all of the prophets in the law prophesied until John. And if you are willing to accept it, John himself is Elijah who was to come. He who has ears, let him hear." So he goes on and basically eulogizes John in a very powerful way. John had disciples. John had followers. People followed him, listened to him, even though he was a man in the wilderness dressed in camel's hair, cloak, and eating bugs. And what I think is just the grace that Jesus has here. John's at the end of his life. He's been in prison for a year. I'm sure in a point where he's shaken, right? His convictions may be shaken, even though he's seen some powerful things. And Jesus reaffirms that he is who he says he is by quoting scripture back to the disciples to take back to John, and then reminds everybody else how awesome a dude John is, which I think is really neat. And to think that the God of the universe that's actually was on earth doing his mission, knowing that John was to prepare the way for him, and now the way has been made, he's there, he's doing his miracles. Jesus is about to shift. The shift is happening here in the book of Matthew, where he's been on the scene for about a year, and all the miracles, all the things that have been happening, he's got a big following. Now Rome and the Sanhedrin and everybody's like, oh gosh, this is bad. Before it was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And now it's like, okay, this Jesus guy's getting out of control. But he's there on the earth, and John is not at his strongest moment. And what does Jesus do? He reaffirms John, and he reminds everybody that's there that John was prophesied about in the Old Testament, that there will be somebody coming to prepare a way for me. And that's what John was doing when he was out baptizing people. When Jesus got baptized, he was already in his ministry. He was already proclaiming that the Messiah is coming. And then he reaffirms he is the Messiah to John's disciples so they could carry that back. And then he reaffirms John to everybody that could have heard the conversation, which I think is pretty powerful. That Jesus isn't this kind of guy that's going to get upset if you're going to question him. He will show you, I'm going to reaffirm I am who I say I am. I'm not coming after you because that I'm not going to ditch you. I'm still with you. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to get out of your circumstance. And John clearly did not get out of his circumstance of being in prison because he was martyred a short time after this. But at the same time, to kind of give his eulogy while he's still there to hear it and know that he's going to go and give his life for somebody who is the Messiah, reaffirmed he's the Messiah, and reaffirmed that John's mission on earth was prophesied about and fulfilled by what John did.
Thanks for listening to the Hardheaded Podcast. Don't forget to share this podcast with others to help us get the word out.
Also, if you haven't yet, please rate and review the show. This helps our podcast show up in other people's suggested shows that may or may not have listened to us before.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.
You got anything else?
No, that was a lot.
Taking it all in there, Chet. That's good. All right. Take us on out. Outro. I usually cut it off by now anyway.
Oh, okay.